Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. If you notice, I got a new background, got rid of the ugly yellow background. I'm actually here in Kiev with the rest of the Smarter Contact team. And I'm excited for this training because, here at Smarter Contact, every single month, we're always doing new trainings. But the goal is to continue to provide value and to continue to show you guys different ways to help scale your business. It's all about scaling, especially when you want to stay in real estate for, actually build a business and build a career as an investor or wholesaler. It's like adding new layers to the cake, right? Last month we had Chris Chico on about Facebook ads, obviously Smarter Contact, where SMS platform just came out with RVM. And the thing is there's not just one magic bullet that works for everybody. It's great to implement different strategies here and there to continue to really dominate your market, so that you're the authority in your market, and also strategies to help you scale into new markets and a stretch to see where else you can, move your business and potentially do virtual wholesale, virtual real estate. And Adam and I, we've been kind of for a while talking about it, looking around, interviewing people when it comes to partnering with a direct mail provider. And when it came down to it, Corey and the REI Print Mail team they were the best. They were the leaders. They've been in the game for the longest time. And Corey here is actually a coaching consultant, and he works hands-on with a lot of investors in the game, customizing the best direct mail strategy for them. So I'm excited to have Corey on. Corey, thank you so much for joining with us, sharing some tips and kind of sharing with us how we can implement direct mail marketing alongside of our other strategies that we're currently using.
Daniel, thank you for the warm introduction. And yeah, dude, just like you said, our company also shares those same core values, just like yours does we're not here to sell you texting and sell you mail. We're here to help you grow your biz and to help you get deals. And know this, just like with Smarter Contact, you don't have to go at this alone, so like there's people out here and we'll help you. All you have to do is reach out and ask for it, and especially in the direct mail biz, guessing is extremely expensive if you don't know what you're doing. Fortunately, we've tested millions of marketing dollars, A/B testing different lists, different mail pieces, what works better than this. And then hopefully I can share a few of them tips with you guys so that way you can save a bit of money in your real estate game and not make those same mistakes that I did and other customers of mine did as well.
Nice, man. Well, excited to get into it, man. So what you got for us?
Yeah, well, dude, we've been in this game. We've been in the print business for 30 years, like printing like banners like you see here. And, we do folders and logoed apparel, embroidery in-house, promotional products, all of that awesome stuff. But we also have the real estate vertical, which we've been in the real estate game for about 20 of those 30 years, providing marketing for real estate investors all over the country. And then our facility, it's a pretty big facility. We got about 40 employees here, and we do a lot of fulfillment for a lot of other CRMs. I'm not going to name everybody because everybody doesn't want to know, right? But so we do a whole lot of fulfillment for a lot of other coaches, a lot of other CRMs, all kinds of companies all over the nation. And when it comes to direct mail, we've pretty much got this thing down to a science, just to say the least, right? We send, I think it was 3 million a month. Right now, we're sending about 3 million pieces per month all over the country. And then for all of those people whom I'm managing, I ask for feedback. I want to know what's working, what's not working. That way, when we go into the next quarter or the next month, if we need to make any fine tweaks to the mail piece, to the list, we can do so based on what like an expected response rate may be. If I'm not satisfied with it, you guys probably wouldn't be either. So if we're not getting what I would expect out of it, then we'll make some tweaks so that way we can make the most amount of money with the money that we're spending on mail.
Nice. So I'm curious, when it comes to direct mail, how critical does it play to really create a customized strategy with your direct mail, like the amount of touches, copy, and so on?
Yeah, you want to hit a list at least 3 to 6 times. But that's not to say that, hitting the list one time isn't going to get you nothing at all. That's a lot of people will say if you hit a list, you're just blowing money into the wind. However, sometimes we have a time decay list, like if it's a tax sale coming up in the next month and you got to fire a mailer at them as soon as possible before that happens. Like there's deals to be had in hitting a list once. However, best practice, hit it 3 to 6 times and then spend the least amount of money. And I'll help you guys with this. Spend the least amount of money on the first mailer that you send a cheap postcard. We got great messages on our cheap postcards, if you will, but you always want to use first class postage. That way you get the returned mail delivered back to you. And then after you remove those names from the list and anybody else whom raised their hand at some point in time, take them off the list for when you follow back up on that list and hit it for a second time, then bump up the card stock and or send a letter, and then use marketing mail postage. So it's substantially cheaper than first class. However, it's cheaper because we're not paying the post office for that service of a delivery time is a little bit less predictable with marketing mail postage. And then it depends on the county, township. It's really up to the post office's discretion whether they're going to return that mail to you or not. But I wouldn't expect it with marketing mail postage.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that's kind of a good strategy. I never really thought of that or heard someone do that, kind of go with, the cheapest postcard for the first blast, make it as cheap as possible. And of course, as you continue to scrub the list, continue that, I guess go thicker, bigger, or potentially a letter. Where do you see most investors kind of using postcards or letters? Because there's always been the debate of letter versus postcard. There's always people like, nah, the yellow postcard is still good today, but there's a lot of people like, nah, like I want that nice craft handwritten letter kind of style.
Yeah, man, dude, there's a lot of opinions out there, right? And there's a lot of people that prefer certain things because it resonates with them best. But you're not the homeowner that's in distress wanting to sell your property, right? And also it depends on budget. Do we have the budget to, put together a letter and throw it in a priority envelope that's, going to cost you 55 cents a stamp? We can do that. However, yeah, dude, I'm in sales, right? But my strategy is to help you lock up some deals and spend the least amount of money to do so. And that way we're in business for the rest of our lives. So it's not really about getting that initial dollar from anybody. What I see done best with some of my biggest players all over the country is spend the least amount of money on the first mailer, use first class postage. And then, yeah, depending on the market, letters perform better, like in Arizona, if you will. In Ohio, small postcard, do it all day long. Louisiana, small postcard. You don't even need to put a street view or text function or nothing on it. And it's almost as if like in Baton Rouge, like them guys have never seen a postcard in their life, and like response rates, dude, are ridiculous. So Baton Rouge, right? You can probably get 3 to 4% response rate. And then DFW over here, like, dude, you are lucky if you get a 0.5% response rate, or Riverside, And there's a few guys in here. Your names look familiar. I think we may have had a conversation once or twice. I don't know, not for sure. But yeah, so short answer, Daniel, it's really up to you. Talk to me first. If you're in a market and I'm like, yeah, dude, postcards are killing it out there, don't waste the money and spend more money when you don't have to. Unless you like spending money out, dude, I like taking it, right?
But see, and that's one thing, I'm going to catch you right there. You're right. It is up to me. And I think that's where a lot of investors have that mindset. And at least a lot of them who I've talked to and helped out in the past as well, too, is like they think they know what works because they get distracted. I feel like, everybody has that shiny object syndrome. We're all on the forums. And it's easy for, let's say, a new investor, a new wholesaler to get so amped, to get so excited, and you just think, oh, I just got to send postcards, right? And they go and price forum, and someone says, oh, this postcard works. But, they could be on the West Coast or, right, they can be in Florida, but that postcard worked in Baton Rouge where, it's easy to do a postcard, but maybe they're in Miami where a postcard's probably doesn't work, or Jacksonville doesn't work. And so they assume, but they don't really understand and take the time to, well, how does my demographic and market behave in the market, right?
Yep.
The same thing with between cold calling and SMS and RVM, right? SMS might not work at all in a certain city or county, but guess what? They'll still open their letters or cold call. So it's actually kind of really understanding the market. And I think that's where a lot of investors and wholesalers fail, is really understanding. Because if you're in an area where a cheap postcard works, dude, that's awesome. But then it's also understanding your open rates percentages as well too. Because I know, I'm from San Diego, and San Diego is a tough market. We all know that, on the West Coast, especially with direct mail. But once you understand that percentage, it kind of makes it a lot easier to scale and know where you're putting your marketing.
Yeah, man. And Daniel, especially I support every channel of marketing known to man. You should invest and do it, hit them every possible way known to man, right? And if our budget is low, send text messages. And then if you're going to implement direct mail in your strategy, of that list that skip trace, it's usually, if you guys know, about 80% of the list comes back with phone numbers. And then depending, 8 to 12% or so come back with a connectivity rate. And Smarter Contact is really good about getting the right numbers and getting the right messages sent, right? So like you are in great hands working with them. But if we're working on a limited budget, but we still want to get in front of this audience of this niche list criteria that we've exported, and there's still this much of the list left that we can't get our message to, then invest your monies into getting in front of that list with direct mail.
Exactly. Because, it comes down to how you're mapping out your strategy. A lot of people have that, whether it's postcards or cold calling, or they don't understand the follow-up game. They don't understand of sitting down and crafting a strategy. It's like, all right, if you're starting with SMS, great. But guess what? Yes, the response rate's high, but guess what? It's not a 50%, 70, 80, 90%, 100% response rate. So are those people who don't respond, are you just going to let them sit for how many other months, and just go to the next list? Or are you going to try a different type of touch, right? Are they going to then hit them with a postcard, hit them with a letter, hit them from a different angle to get your message in front of them? And I know a lot of people too, like, all right, let's say you're in a suburb type of area where there's a larger, older demographic who don't really text, who probably still don't know how to text yet still, right? Well, they still open their letters. I know my grandparents still look at every single piece of mail. So if that's the type of market, demographic, then yeah, definitely implement definitely a direct mail to kind of hit those people. But again, so market. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if like statistically speaking, like if you look back at all the deals that you've acquired, like how old was the homeowner? Like think about it. They're at least usually above 55 years old, and like the 65, 70-year-old range, like those guys aren't even going to sell my house fast, St. Louis or DFW, in the event that they're going to find your website or see your ad, however, a text message may suffice to them, or direct mail has been, we've been using it for over 100 years, right? It's the first form of marketing ever. And it'll never, ever, you can't unsubscribe to the mailbox, if you will. And then what we try to do here at REI Print Mail is get past the trash can, if you will. So like if we're marketing to, let's say the most abused mailing list you can export, free and clear, absentee, out of state, dude, you got to send a lot of them things to get a 0.5% response rate. But as a homeowner and you're looking through your mail and you've got, you're getting blasted in every direction and you got a bunch of mail in you, what is going to stand out the very most, and who are they going to want to call first, and what's going to make it past, grandma, everyone sorts their mail over the trash. I do it every day. I'm like, what's this? Okay, I'm keeping this, keep pile, trash pile. And like when you implement the street or the satellite view of the property, on the mailer, and this is their most prized possession that they've ever spent the most amount of money on, and it's an image of their property, a lot of times maybe the decision maker of the family isn't receiving the mail. However, he or she who gets the mail, they see that, oh wow, look, there's a picture of our house, look at what it used to look like, blah 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 blah, and they leave it on the table for him or her to come home, like boom, we've done our job, we made it past, and our message is still sitting on their table. Or I've even seen it happen. They put it on the refrigerator because they've done work to their house, and they have this picture of their house on the refrigerator. And then 6 months later, they call on it because like something happens, they need to sell.
Yeah. I got a question for you. How important is copy on the postcard and especially your letters? Because I know I've come across, again, back to what I kind of recently said, a lot of investors and wholesalers, they think they know what works because they like look at someone else and be like, oh, well, they're doing it. So they just assume it might work, even though they don't know their results. And when it comes to letter, do people really, if they open a good 3x4 letter, do most homeowners, you think, actually take the time to read it? And how important is the copy of that letter if, let's say, they go letter strategy? So
it depends on the criteria of the list. Sometimes the super short handwritten message will suffice. Always try to come from a standpoint of help, and then test different variables, because we're going to hit this list more than once. So first we'll come more like a family approach. We're not a huge firm. We're looking to purchase 2 or 3 properties per year. And, we think that your property meets our criteria. Give us a call. We'd like to make an offer on it. A softer approach. And then with like fine niche lists like divorce and probate and pre-foreclosure, that's usually a smaller list. So what you can do for like a quantity play, and if you're getting all these lists and code violations, batch them all together. And like I've created a message after 100 different variables, do A/B and testing, I have a message that works the best, and it's where the homeowner will rather fill in the blank and qualify themselves because they're feeling this type of way, if you will. So like we've helped families, whether they're going through a divorce, inherited a property, late on their mortgage, have unruly tenants. We're here to help. Please contact us. We'd like to make an offer XYZ. So they psychologically fill in the blank in their mind, qualifying themselves, and then it costs less to get in front of more people on a quantity play, because with any mass mailing, you save money when you send more. Yeah. And then you can even use that fill in the blank strategy on, we know our list is between 3 and 5 bed. We know our list is between 1 and 3 bathroom. We know it's been built between 1930 and 2000. So on that mailer, say, if your house meets this criteria, which we know every record on the mailing list does, you may qualify for a cash offer. And every mailer, they all qualify, but psychologically, they're like, oh, wait, I might qualify for that. I'm going to call Daniel over there, Smarter Contact, and see how he can help.
Yeah, definitely.
So and colors too matter too, man. Like it's really weird. Right now, pink has been hitting hard.
Really?
Yellow was hitting hard for a long time. Pink is killing it. I got a pink one right here that's done really well. This one, it has the street and satellite view of the property. It's a medium postcard here. So that one's doing really well.
Yeah, because it kind of seemed like, yellow was the fad for a while, and it almost seemed a little bit too much, because then it kind of puts people on, yellow, it's probably something about real estate. It's interesting, though, that you continue to really split test between different colors, because it is true. I remember I saw an image, in a marketing book. It's like everybody perceives colors differently, and each color sets a different tone. And this sets a different voice too, especially when there's copy alongside of the color as well. So like when it comes to, does the whole kind of copy strategy of just like, we buy houses cash, call us now, we'll buy cash, we'll hook you up, this, that, kind of, because I know you said personal does work, or is it like, is that a little bit too saturated and it's time to get a little bit more personal, a little bit more creative in the copy?
Yes, you should be more personal on the standpoint of being able to help the homeowner rather than making us money. Because, for the most part, if most lists are being hit by other investors, some of the finer niche lists are harder to obtain, like code violations and water disconnects, notice to vacate, fire damage homes. Sometimes those are harder to obtain, so they're not getting hit as much. But if you're hitting a free and clear absentee out-of-state owner, like, know this, like you better stand out as much as you possibly can, because they're already getting hit in every direction. Just because any YouTube video you watch and you're beginning your wholesaling business or want to become an investor, that's the first thing they say: free and clear, absentee, out-of-state owner. And I got Nick Marino down here, these guys in Jacksonville, Florida, with out-of-state owners. I have found not to limit it to out-of-state owners, as a lot of those people own property down there. They want to fly down during the winter. They're not really even interested in selling their home. So I want to limit it to out-of-state owners on an absentee search in South Florida.
Gotcha.
Here's a tip on the name. If you put a woman's name on the mail, on the call to action instead of a man's, you get a little bit higher of a response rate as well. Women seem to get a higher response rate than men. Yeah, I know, right? Sounds crazy, and it's like
nobody wants to work with men anymore.
Yeah. And then for you folks in DFW, say habla español on every mailer that you send, like clockwork. And same for you guys down in South Florida as well. If there's a Spanish speaking community that's in your market, and there's a lot of them, put that say habla español, we speak Spanish on your mail piece, and that will increase response rates as well to let them guys know, like, oh, I read se habla español, so they'll call you.
So when it comes to, let's say, letters, is it, obviously we went female voice, color. What about colored envelopes? If we're going letters instead of postcards, do color envelopes, maybe animations? I've seen some people try to put like animations or make it look like a birthday card, kind of like, have balloons on the envelope. Does that style kind of work, or is it kind of a little too much? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're driving for dollars and we're just firing one-off mailers at a time, it certainly isn't scalable to put a sticker on or a few multiple stickers on an envelope all the time. But like, if we're just beginning our trial and error, or we hire a kid to drive for dollars for us, dude, get a 6x9 envelope, an invitation envelope. I don't have one on me. Order some 6x9 envelopes and write the addresses in crayon. I swear to God. Write the addresses in crayon, and then put like a little balloon sticker or whatever, there's no personal touch that's closer to an address written in crayon. Test this out if you think I'm full of shit. Sorry for the language, Daniel. I get excited with direct mail.
No, it's all good. Man, I'm so curious that I want to try that now. I want to, go try some envelopes with some crayon on it.
Yeah, and as far as the paper, just get a legal pad, or not a legal pad, I'm sorry, a spiral ringed notebook. This is I can't do this for you folks. And frankly, you can't pay me enough to do it. So, but this is what you could do from home. Get a spiral ring notebook, write your message on it, handwritten as well. And then when you fold it and put it in that envelope that you have written the address with crayon, there is nothing more personal than that. And I've seen, 10 times the response rate of sending just a postcard to that list. It takes a lot of time, and you got to put a first-class stamp on it no matter what. There's no pre-sort if you're doing it from home. But that approach works really well and stands out like a sore thumb.
Dude, man, I want to try that so bad right now, actually. If I was actually back home, I'd probably go walk the neighborhood right now and just maybe pick 20 just to try, because I just want to see what kind of response that gets.
Yeah, man. And a lot of folks do. Daniel, when you're driving, folks, I know we're supposed to be talking about direct mail. This is a bit off topic, but when you're driving for dollars, why don't you stop, get out of the car and stick a note on the door. Call me. I love this house. Call me. I'd like to buy it. Phone number. What's those extra couple of steps that you take is going to depict how well you do this year. And if you can acquire 3 more properties in 2021 just by tagging the door while you're driving for dollars, shit, we just added $30K to our annual income by doing that small task.
Yep. So a couple last questions for you. Obviously, in the beginning of this, I kind of asked you, predictions. We're going in 2021. There's a lot going on. Obviously, with government and stimulus, kind of slows and kind of shifts the market. Obviously, interest rates are super low. People are selling, people are buying. A lot of people are kind of moving in different states. What do you think is going to be kind of some of the hot lists this year for people to target?
Code violations, pre-foreclosure, tax delinquent, water shutoffs, and then if you can get with, low income, credit score below 400 that own a property, that would be a good list. And know this, with tax delinquent, usually tax delinquent properties are owned free and clear just out of the gate, because normally the mortgage will balloon the taxes within your monthly mortgage payment. So most tax delinquent properties are owned free and clear, and the spreads on tax delinquent is ridiculous, right? I mean, it's fucking 100% equity. You pay back what's owed on the tax, and then they make a little bit of money on their end, and the spreads are retarded. So I'd say with tax delinquent, when you get the tax rolls from your county or township, I'd get it straight from the county. I wouldn't use a system for it just because the county has the most up-to-date records. It's going to be a huge list, but sort the amount due by, start marketing to the guys that owe 10K or more, depending on how big this list is, and then also depending on your county, is it a lien state? Is it a deed state? I don't know. Your market, you got to know that. But, how long is the redemption period? So there's some things to take into consideration when marketing tax delinquent, but tax delinquent is probably my favorite because the spreads are enormous.
Nice. All right, man, this is good stuff, man. We dropped some great value. Hopefully all you guys watching, listening are really kind of taking notes on this stuff right now. So Corey, man, let's say somebody wants to take that next step and kind of implement direct mail in their strategy. What would be the next step? And how do you kind of work with people? You kind of said you kind of handhold them. I know the reason why Smarter Contact has chosen you guys to kind of work hand in hand is because you're a little bit more hands-on approach. There's a lot of direct mail people out there. There's a lot of places you can order postcards, but you go online, they just throw a bunch of designs at you. They probably don't even really test these designs. And so people just assume they work and they kind of just buy their order, it ships off, and that's it. They just kind of sit there, hope and pray that they get an answer. What is your guys' different approach, and how do you work with investors if, let's say, they come on and want to start implementing a direct mail campaign?
Yeah, so the first discussion will be centered around where's your market, and then the next question I'm going to ask you what your goals are, and then I'm going to ask you a question about budget. I'm going to ask you questions about where you're obtaining your data, and if you don't know where to obtain data, I can help you with that. And then what approach will financially cost you like to equal what your monthly budget is. If you're brand new and you don't have a huge budget, there's workarounds for that. And Daniel, dude, sometimes I tell people direct mail isn't even for you. If you got $300-400 to spend on marketing, text message, bandit signs until you lock up your first deal, and then you can come at this thing with a statistic approach and an expected return on investment. But I wouldn't throw 200 mailers at DFW. I wouldn't even, you'd have to just go online and just order it yourself, because I wouldn't feel confident in you like closing a deal out of it. Unless it was a driving for dollar list and it was stacked with code violations or something like that, and you knew that the criteria of this list was fire in itself. But I certainly wouldn't send 200 postcards or letters to an absentee-owned list in DFW, especially if it's free and clear, especially if it's out-of-state owners. Don't blow $200 on a mailing if it's like that. So, that's the difference a bit, Daniel. I don't take everybody's money. Direct mail isn't for everyone. You know what I mean? Direct mail has definitely been a pillar in marketing for years, and it always will be. But I help you analyze your market. We'll see where you're at. This is what lists are working best in that market, and these are the following mail pieces that do well. If you guys go to REI Print Mail, you'll find hundreds of mailers, and it can be quite overwhelming. So, if you do want to do a direct mail campaign and you want help with it, I can help.
How much? Well, man, good stuff, man. Thank you for sharing. And for those of you watching, definitely, I just put the link below. And if you're on YouTube or are actually watching this through the Facebook Live, the link below, definitely, we got core. We actually, we have your Calendly. If you go through our link to schedule a one-on-one, again, that's why we kind of, we're kind of partners with you guys, is because it's such a big plus having your handhold going through your market and kind of going over your campaign, and especially going over what you're sending out. Again, like I said, there's just a lot of investors who just click and buy, sending out, not really going over the postcard, the copy. Should I go, like you said, the strategy, a cheap postcard, and then kind of scale to a letter, or if it's a smaller list, kind of go with the letter. So, man, thank you so much for sharing. For all you guys, definitely click on the link, schedule a call with Corey. To kind of see, go over market and implement a direct mail strategy. Is there anything else you can leave us off with? Any other tips, kind of things you've kind of been seeing in the market with implementing direct mail marketing?
Yeah, here's a tip for if you are using direct mail and those people that call and ask to be removed from the list. Here's a tip on how you can spin those folks into property finders. A lot of customers and clients ask me this all the time about removing names from the list. However, I have a lot of customers that do not remove any names from the list, and 6 months passed and a sequence of life-changing events happens to said homeowner. And if you stop marketing to them, they forget about who you are. But what I do is when somebody asks to be removed from the list, calm them down. They're usually pissed off. Hey, sorry, blame your boss. My boss sends out a whole lot of these, and we're just out here trying to help people. If you give me your mailing address, I'll put in a request to have you removed. So what we just did there, we took the blame off of us. Even if we're a one-man show, it doesn't matter. We've told them, well, I'm going to put in the request, saying like you might get another one, and then let them know, hey, listen, you might get another mailer from us. However, I'm going to put in the request, but if you do get another mailer, kindly disregard it. I sincerely apologize. My boss has also been known to give $500 to $1,000, in the event if you knew somebody that needed help with their property. Do you, Daniel, know anybody that needs help with their property?
All the time.
Yeah. So you can spend, this is sales, guys, one-on-one. Like, you can spin these folks, no matter how pissed off they are about receiving your mailer. They might know somebody. Mary Jane next door is having some divorce issue and she needs to sell her house. And you were polite to this homeowner. You warned them you may receive another one. You blame your boss, and then you ask them for a referral, right?
Yeah, like you said, it's typical sales. It's like never just try to end the conversation, be like, oh, okay, and kind of give up.
Yeah.
Open-ended questions, and it's really kind of trying to switch and take control of the conversation. Don't let them control the conversation. Switch it around. Luckily, I used to be a realtor, and I've worked with a lot of great investors and real estate agents back in San Diego. And really it just comes down to taking control of the conversation and slowly kind of changing it. You'll be surprised. I've met so many people to where the person's mad and pissed off at you. But if you really know how to ask the right questions, almost become their friend, trying to help, you can totally change that conversation to where at the end of it, you become best friends. They start off hating you, and then at the end of it, you can become best friends. It's definitely a skill to learn more, but it comes to repetitions and really it's repetitions. It's continually doing it. So definitely, guys, the link's there. So Corey actually should be getting a couple calls scheduled. It looks like it. And does anybody have any questions for Corey before we wrap this up? Any questions? I'm curious if you're watching this, have you done direct mail before? Or are you currently doing direct mail right now in your marketing efforts? I want to hear it. Charles, Fred, Jason, Nick. Let's see, we got a question coming in. Fred asked,
Daniel, is that a question for me? Am I doing direct mail in my market?
That was a question for everybody else, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming you're doing direct mail in your market right now.
Yes.
Not.
Stay back. No, I'm kidding. Dude, there's so much money out here to be had, dude. There's no competition.
Fred asks, how do you work with returned mailers?
Yeah, simply. I'll create a unique mail, alphanumeric digit on each mail piece, like A, B, 1, 2. This will help with instead of like you'll peel a sticker off of here and there's usually a return address there. Instead of pulling that sticker off of there, I can either put in a unique code somewhere on there that's specific to that contact record, or you can type down, there's the property address. There's always a merge field for the property address on your mailer. You can send that back to me with just the property address, and I'll find it, remove it from the list, and I'll send you back the rest of the variable information that's associated to that property address. Right now, we're working on creating an easier way, like a scanner. There's other companies out here that are doing this. It's kind of finicky-ish, right? But like probably in the next 25 days, we're gonna have I'm A/B and testing right now with a few of my players. But this thing's going to be live whenever we launch our new website, which should also be coming out February 15th-ish, hopefully.
Sweet. All right, I got a question for you. So let's see here. Nick Marinos and Trina said they have not used direct mail yet. What kind of tips can you give them for starting, or if they're thinking of starting or wanting to get into, the postcards or letters into their current strategy?
If your current strategy right now is driving for dollars, the highest performing list you can ever acquire is a driving for dollar list. That's the best data ever known to man. You can't buy it. You got to work for it. But if that's what you guys are currently doing in your marketing efforts is driving for dollars, that's the list that I would fire on first.
Nice. And then Charles Carpenter, yep. Guys, the replay, for those of you who just kind of logged in, the replay will be in the Facebook group. You go to Facebook and just type in Smarter Contact Innovative Marketing Strategies. The group should pop up. Go ahead and join.
Jim Koenig, Richard Hunt.
And then you can also head to YouTube, and we have a YouTube channel called Smarter Contact. Both of those, this replay will be posted both those spots tomorrow morning. So Charles, just simply go to Facebook and type in Smarter Contact, and the group will pop up. But yeah, for the rest of you, don't forget to join the group. And then Corey will have to have you. I'll probably tag you in the replay as well too. So if anybody has questions and you remember questions, comment them to the replay. Corey, I'll invite you to the group so that way you can chime on in if anybody has questions tomorrow. All right, Charles Carpenter has a question. How many calls should he get from 2,500 per week postcards sent?
Where's the market and what's the niche?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It really comes down to your market,
Yeah. On industry averages is about a 0.5% response rate across the board. Usually you can expect about a 0.5% response rate. So Charles, we're talking 12 phone calls per week. Usually industry averagely speaking, if you will, for every 25 phone calls, there's a deal that exists there. This is a conservative number. 0.5% is a conservative number, but when you're looking into forecasting for Q1 and you're sending 2,500 mailers per week, assume a 0.5%. That way you're not butthurt whenever you get 0.5%, right? And then you can forecast better, but you should lock up 4 deals a month if that's what you're doing. And if you're not, there's something going on the conversion end. It's not your marketing end. What questions are you asking them? Are you asking for the referral? Are you providing value? Are you giving them more than one exit strategy? Because you guys know there's not just one way to lock up a deal. Most people only assume it's assigning a contract to a buyer, and that's it. There's many of exit strategies, but we won't go into that right now.
Awesome. Well, Charles just actually said he's in Maryland. Have you got any data from Maryland?
Patrick, Emmy is holding on
Maryland.
701.
Yeah, Maryland, dude, you should get closer to 1% there. And then 2, let's have a chat and see what this list is and what mailer you're sending. Because you could have a phenomenal mail piece and a horrible list, and it completely bombs. But you could have a great list and a horrible mail piece and still get a return on it. So, that's kind of a one-on-one discussion. I'd be happy to help you. Go to REI Print Mail Launch SC, click to schedule a call. It'll go straight to my calendar, and then we can chat a little bit further about that.
Yep. And Charles, I know you just kind of joined. Yeah, I know I said the replay will be in the Facebook group and YouTube channel, but also if you go into the chat, I got the link right there. So guys, definitely take up on Corey for the free strategy call and link with him on figuring out what kind of strategy would be best for your market. So I think that's it. Does anybody else have any other questions? If you're all good, go ahead and type a 1 in the chat. I think we can probably end this up, man. Corey, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to working together and you kind of dropping some value to a lot of our users.
Thanks for having me, Daniel. It was an honor and a privilege, man. I'm happy to help.
Of course. And I know a lot of people on the spot don't think of questions. And of course, 30 minutes later, like, oh, wait, I got a question for Corey again. Hit the link. You can schedule a call with them. And like I said, the replay will be in the group. Comment below to the replay if you have any more questions around direct mail marketing, strategies, your market, and Corey will chime in on that. But we'll kind of just end it here. So thank you so much, Corey. Thank you for everyone joining. And we will see you next week for the next training.
Thanks again, Daniel. Have a great day.
Thanks, Corey.